everyone. Good to see you. It's good to be back. I hope you're well and are hanging in there. I can't believe this is our fourth time gathering like this. It's good.
Baby, this isn't like young love. No, this is like an underground river flowing over iron and iron, taking all the shapers and givers. I feel the love between us. I feel the love between us. We just walked into some history. You can't ignore a beautiful past, full of redemption and mystery, holding up the things that will last. I feel the love between us. I feel the love between us. I feel the love between Love is a diamond hidden in mountains, covered in danger and dirt. I'm on the outside digging, digging. I see, I know what it's worth. Love is a diamond hidden in mountains, covered in danger and dirt. I'm on the outside digging and digging. See, I know what it's worth. I've seen it, I know what it's worth. I've seen it, I know what it's I feel the love between us. I feel the love between
Woo!
Yeah.
Hey guys, I hope you're well. I am glad to be back, and I've been just thinking about a lot this week. Hit me kind of hard, and I've been talking to some friends, and they've had a similar experience. Some of them, hi Mimi, shout out. Oh, I have a shout out. I actually have a very secretive shout out from Ruby. Has a secret shout out. Please take the stage. She-
Hashtag everybody. That's it.
That's a secret language to a very secret person. So, I had this week. I had to apologize to my family because I lost my sense of humor. I felt it exit the room or leave my body, and I don't know about you guys, but I hope you're keeping your sense of humor. I tried to get some sleep, and it came back the next day a little bit. It showed up around a little bit, but I kind of felt this sort of an exodus of just my sense of humor. That would be the the best way to put it, or just a sense of, and so this week is hard. I think that my heart goes out to those people who already have a propensity maybe for anxiety or depression and that type of thing. And so I'm praying for us. I'm praying for you that if you lose your sense of humor, that it will come back, that you have the capacity to get rest. My heart goes out to all the people working on the front lines of this that are feeling it's just so crazy that some of us are isolated and at home while others are working extremely hard. And just that grace and love, like we sang last week, love would cover a multitude of things, but then sometimes the waters rise and you find yourself in a spot that is you can't bootstrap your way out of, and you can't just sort of do better because someone tells you to do better, or look up because someone says look up, or trust because someone says trust. And I think at those points you have to ask for help, and I've tried to, I think if I've grown in any way in my own journey with stuff, it's just let, especially these guys close to me, they're all here in the room with me off camera, I'm just having a hard time, bear with me. And anyway, that doesn't give me permission to just like be a jerk, and but I think it helps sometimes to pave the way to say I'm struggling right now. So anyway, I wrote this song about us, those of us that are maybe in that place, that sensitive place, and you feel all the stuff, and sometimes you don't want to feel all the stuff, and but I think there are good reasons for it. It probably helps you in the way you process the world, and the way you think about life, the way you think about God, the way you create, and it has good parts too. But sometimes when that's turned up super loud, it can be hard. So this goes out to all my Floodplain friends.
Some hearts are built on a floodplain, keeping one eye on the sky for rain. Work for the ground that gets washed away when you live closer. Closer to the danger and the rolling deep, closer to the run and the losing streak, and what brings us to our knees. Some hearts are built on a floodplain, and it's easy to sigh on the high bluffs, when you've had enough. Will you have the sense to come on up? Will you stay closer? Closer to the life and the ebb and flow, closer to the edge of I don't know, closer to life's the way
family knows that my mind gets stuck if I don't have responses. And it's funny, when I taught high school, it was like this too. If I didn't feel like students were getting what I was saying, I would repeat myself over and over again. And so a big part of Troy, when he first started coming on the stage with me, was to just say, he would sit back on his perk kit and he would just say things as I talked, like, yeah, oh, that's good. Just to keep my brain moving forward, because I had really, I don't know, it's just sort of a quirk, I guess, but when I think, if I don't feel like I'm understood, or that people are kind of apprehending what I'm picking up, what I'm putting down, apprehending, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Kirby's here to make sure I use the right vocab.
I'm your English teacher.
My right vocab words. Yeah, there he is. So, well, a couple things. I love online the renaming of sweatpants as just pants. I'm all in for that. I read a thing yesterday that when we leave here, we are not putting on anything other than like elastic waistbands. Now, for some reason, for this engagement, every single time I go put on jeans, it's just such a funny, to me, it's funny what social conventions are falling to the wayside during this whole experiment. And one of them is just like, you look at jeans when you're at home and you just think, why would I put those on? I would never put those on. What did your friend say? He said he was gonna...
His favorite part of the day is changing from his daytime sweatpants to his nighttime sweatpants.
His favorite part of the day, if you didn't hear that, was changing from his daytime sweatpants to his nighttime sweatpants. So I might have to get a nice pair that, I don't know, like a
Zubas.
live on camera pair of sweatpants. But these are real stretchy, but still they're jeans. So I don't know why we do that to ourselves. But
and shoes, you put shoes on.
I put shoes on today too. That I haven't. I've been wearing just bare feet. But yeah, sorry, I've got like Facebook's down here and Instagram's right here. So I'm all for it. I put a lot of thought into that, and I'm all for the renaming of jeans hard pants and sweatpants just pants, and then we'll have day sweatpants, we'll have night sweatpants, and I'm all for this, the movement in this direction. But anyway, I think one of the things that's been really hitting me hard this week, and definitely earlier this week, I think that we have our normal life, we have the crucibles that we're in that are forming us, and that are sort of like heated places of shaping and reformation in us. And we have the ones that we know about, just like regular life, the ones that are common to man. This has thrust us all into certain new crucibles that we aren't used to, that would never in a million years we would have never thought of. Around isolation, some of us are genuinely alone. Around fear, I think about frontline workers who are engaging and daily wondering, am I going to get this? Am I going to have this? My folks and I all have heart condition stuff already going on, underlying conditions. So runs through your mind. If I get this, what does that mean? And so we have fear, we have isolation, all these different unique, and then a worldwide liminality, just not like just liminal, not like a transitional space for each one of us individually, but a global liminal space. And so if it feels hard and weird, it's different. These are new shaping things that we've not experienced before. And I think one of the hardest ones for me, the unique footprint or fingerprint of this virus that really bothers me, is the isolation, but specifically the isolation when people are passing. And so the way I do with something like this just kept bringing tears to me, thinking about people who are at the end of their life. You would hope, and we don't, obviously all kinds of things can happen. We have car accidents and things that are, we don't always get to say exactly how things go. We're not in control of that. We never have been. But this sort of universal thing that people aren't able to be with their loved ones, it's really hitting me hard. And so I was just like, thinking about that. And that this Sunday, our pastor Micah gave a sermon. He's been talking about the metamorphosis of the butterfly and the journey of the Israelites into the promised land, and tying those two together. And he just talked about the death of Moses and how this, when they're getting ready to go cross the Red Sea, there's a word there that means they're at the a Hebrew word that means they're at the mouth of freedom. And that same word is used here at the end of Moses' life. And he dies basically alone, but with God. And I just took a lot of comfort from that. It says that he died at the mouth of God. In other words, in kind of the picture would be a kiss. Whew. And so I think about all these folks that are in the middle of this place, and I believe that their maker sees them, knows them. And it was just a comforting word to me here in this, with this question on my mind of like how terrible that this thing is, that it leaves us in isolation at the end of our lives. And so I thought about another time when that kind of comfort came to me, and that was with my grandfather. Years ago when we were at Christmas, I'm launching into one more story if that's okay. But so this idea that God He's always with us no matter what, and that our Maker sees us. I think this is one of the great claims. We claim a lot of stuff. I think it's hard for me when Christians go out into the world in a moment like this and talk about so much about what God wills. I just can't. I can't do that. I feel very. But I think there are some tenets or things about his character that we can know, and one is that he's promised presence. He has said he will not leave us or forsake us, even though we can feel like we are forsaken. And we're allowed to say all that, and we're allowed to speak honestly about how we feel. Anyway, Granddad, towards the end of his life, he was actually, I think he died at 96 last year, but Christmas several years ago, he was pretty hard of hearing, and so in order to tell a story, he would have to just project really loudly. He couldn't really be in the conversation, and so I think he was about 92 maybe at the time, but he launched out in this story, and he said, these days when the house starts getting dark and the whole table gets quiet because we all want to hear from him. When the house is getting dark, he said, lately I've just been beset with doubt, is what he said. And he said, I just look at my life and I wonder, as I'm like closing this box and taping it up, like what did I put in there, and did I pick the right things, and did I teach my kids the right things, and did I, and I'm so prone to melancholy, and I'm prone to, and how much till God just says enough, enough with you, enough with that. And he said, I felt this like darkness in my heart, this heaviness and doubt. And he said, but then I go to bed, and he said, it's not really a dream. I'm awake, but it's not real. It's kind of a waking dream. And he said, every single night, I have this very vivid picture in my mind that I'm walking up a street, and I see the Father at the end of the driveway, and he is waiting for me. And I can tell by his movement that he's not angry. And he said, and then I fall asleep with peace. And he finished the story, and I thought, first of all, this story needs to be a song verbatim. I need to just capture as much of this as I can and put it into a song. Second of all, thank you, Granddad, for sharing about your doubt at 92 instead of feeling like you have to project something to me of what faithfulness looks like. Thank you for admitting to me that you have had this struggle. I always felt more seen and more understood in the world when Granddad shared stuff with me, because I was very kindred to him. And then thank you, Jesus, for comforting my grandfather at 92 when he is going to bed at night and feeling fraught and overloaded with doubt and fear and wonder and questions and all this. Thank you for giving him a waking dream, that he would see himself and see the love of the Father waiting in the driveway, which is, of course, the prodigal son, the story of the prodigal son. So after they were heading out to the car, and we were all cleaning up in the kitchen, and I just said to my Aunt Claudia, that story was really beautiful. And she looked at me and said, not only has God been that to him, But then he was the driveway God to me, and he's been the driveway God to many, many people. And I think at this moment of my granddad did, he saw people, he saw the Imago Dei in others, and saw their worth, their value, and so anyway, this is the song that he wrote that I then set to music. And I don't think I've sung it since. I did. I sang it one time. Actually, sang it at with Sara Renner the other day in Billy Steele, and then I sang it last year at his funeral, which was really good and hard. All right.
Lights get low in a darkening house. Girls look down, whisper and wonder. What do I really know and how? All these questions to ponder. I have lived a life of faith. I have felt and heard the Spirit. Still the darkness brings its weight, and assurance is gone. But as I fall asleep, I have a waking dream. You are standing in the driveway as I walk up the street. I can tell by your movement you're not angry. You are waiting there. How much foolishness and folly are allowed in your graceland? How much doubt and melancholy till I'm lost, and as I fall asleep, I have a waking dream. You are standing in the driveway as I walk up the street. I can tell by your movement you're not angry. You are waiting there. Every night for a year, you've come to meet me here. Just a simple image in my mind as I fall asleep. Are you standing in the driveway as I come up the street? I can tell by your movement you're not angry. You are running now. You are running.
Thanks for letting me share these songs with you. And we have one other song we want to sing for you. I am going to tell the story for it. I know that sometimes these stories get longer than the songs, but I'm going to tell it anyway because it was a really profound moment for me in my work with IJM. And I also want to give a shout out. I'm wearing this sweatshirt today because Fair Trade sent it to me. This is the label I've been on. We have like a marketing distribution deal with Fair Trade, have had for years, and they've been really good to us. Jeff Mosley, Dan Michaels, everybody there, Dana, and if I start naming names, they're Kai, everybody.
Chris
Erlinson in the way back days. And we've been part of the team there for 20 years. So a huge thank you. They just are celebrating 20 years. I actually signed, they started this year, 20 years ago, and I signed in October with them. And so that's exciting. So I was at International Justice Mission. If you're not familiar with it, it's a beautiful organization. My husband works for them, has for the last 5 years. But in 2005, we started becoming familiar with their work. And they had an event, which was originally used to be planned by Bethany Wang, who's my good friend. Hi, Bethany. And she invited me to do music at the prayer gathering. And this was a global opportunity for people to come from all over the world to hear about the work and pray for the work. And IJM would have like different, they really are a global work, and the best and the brightest in Chennai and in Guatemala and in Dominican Republic and in Kenya, everywhere, are coming to operate as lawyers, law enforcement officials, aftercare workers. And so people come from all over the world, and they have these different strengths and gifts to be lawyers and all these different things. And so we get in a room together, and it's just really incredible to hear the stories of what's happening. And this particular year, they had different people sharing from these different disciplines. So a lawyer was sharing about the work in India. Someone was sharing about sort of the aftercare work, the investigative work. And so there was an aftercare person who shared from the Philippines, and she shared, her name was Angel, and she took the mic and she said, gave her update about how the girls and the children that they were rehabilitating, how they were doing and what was happening. And then when the mic had passed all the way down the line, I just remember she was in high heels, and she clip-clopped down to the end, grabbed the mic, and took the mic and said, it's very important to me that you know that I'm not just an aftercare worker, but I was rescued. And you could feel this collective sense in the room of the magnitude of her story, first of all. So she had been rescued, and now she's working as an aftercare specialist. And the sense of both holding in this moment of great sorrow, knowing that her story must be tremendously difficult, but also unbelievable joy. Look what God has done in you. Look what he's doing, continues to do in rescue all over the world, where people are told your life is forfeit. Your life, your one life that you get to live, is not your own. And then here is Angel speaking into that. That's not how this is going to go. And in bringing rescue and life and comfort and healing and care to these girls. So it was this moment where you feel all that sense, all the feelings, all that overwhelming, and that happens all the time at IJM when you tune into the stories, the gravity of sin, of loss, of abuse, of violence, of negligence, and then just what's possible, the value of Imago Dei, image bearers being restored, what God looked at and said, this is very good, and getting to participate in that and say it is very good, and getting to be part of that redemptive process is just incredible. But we hold all those things the same. It's not gone for her. That story isn't gone. The difficult parts of it, it's all being held together. And so in that moment, I just jotted down some notes and wrote this song. And I'm going to invite the Groves Family Choir to come in and sing with me. For a good reason, we carry heavy hearts. For a good reason, we have hard days, and sometimes we're battling tremendous, I'm not, some people around the world are battling tremendous injustice and pain, and but we gather together virtually or when we can again. Can you imagine when we get to see each other again? How joyful that will be. But we come together as friends to say, friend, for good reason, joy is in our hearts. Because he has not left us. He has not left us. And he's working in us. He is inviting us into the renewal of all things. Amen. Colossians, one of my favorite verses. He is reconciling all things to himself, and he's inviting us to participate in that, be a part of that work. And so, with the help of the Groves Family Singers. Okay.
Let them in. The other two are off camera.
Yes, we're all here. We're just chilling. But you have to be in the room so I can hear your lovely voice.
We're oppressed on every side, full of fear and troubled thoughts. For good reason, we carried heavy hearts. It is good to be together, in our friendship to remember all the reasons joy is in our hearts. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Christ our joy and strength. Perseverance in our prayers, for good reason, joy is in our hearts. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Christ our joy and strength.
Joining us, praying for you and all those new crucibles that you're in. Maybe you're turning into the daily, what I call the, the daily stress. But love you all.